2021 GSL SuperTournament Season 3.
Welcome back, everybody. We just saw a very quick match where Rogue was able to defeat Dark 3-1. Some very aggressive, very weird plays in there. A lot of fun. Now we're going to go on to Kira against Trap. It's the reigning GSL Code S champion going up against the world's best Protoss overall, the most stable Protoss. Someone looking to get his 4th top 4 in a row in Super Tournament.
Wow, 4th top 4 in a row.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Trap is just on another level right now.
He really is. He is the most full-bodied Protoss out there. And I think it's going to be hard for Kira. Like, not that he can't beat him. Of course, he can beat absolutely anyone. He just won GSL and beat all the best Protosses on the way to doing that.
Yeah, and I think that on paper, this might be just the most talented match of the night in terms of, well, I guess non-mirrors. I mean, whenever Dark's playing the ZVZ, it's pretty chaotic. But Kira against Trap, man, this is going to be a fantastic match. Both these players at the top of their game. Kira in excellent form right now. And you see right there, Trap actually 2-time champion Super Tournament 2021, going for the full sweep, it looks like.
I know. He's a killer, man. He's so stable compared to everyone else. You know, we see, for instance, Zest got like 2nd place in GSL last time, but Trap is like literally always, you can't have a top 8 without him, basically. In anything he plays in, he will always make it at least that far. And then it's like, if he doesn't make top 4, it's very strange. In fact, look at champion, round of 4, runner-up, round of 4. Yeah. Like, it's actually, what he is, in my opinion, he's the successor to Stats, right? Stats went to military, and Stats was kind of our super stable, amazing macro Protoss. But Trap is another level above Stats. Like, I think he is clearly a better player than Stats was.
Macro Protoss players, they're very good at getting deep in tournaments like this. It's usually one of those most versatile play styles where you can adapt to anything. And it's been so fascinating seeing Trap evolve as a player over time because he's just gotten more and more solid. We see a lot of players, they'll go through highs and lows, they'll have peaks, they'll have dips, and they'll come back and resurge again. Trap just keeps getting better. It doesn't stop. And we go really quick. Curious Minds, 2,000 Atmospheres, Blistering Ashes, Hardwire, and Berlingrad. Surprised, actually, we still have the graphic up for me to do that with that little spiel about Trap right there. But, man, looking forward to see what these guys bring on some of these new GSL maps. We've seen some interesting plays out of both of them, not only in Super Tournament, but in GSL so far this year. And we got 2 Titans really going head-to-head as we head into map number 1 on Curious Minds. Who do you think is going to take this one?
I think Trap. Like, even though Cure just got done cleaning the floor with every Protoss in the world last season, I mean, how many builds, how many different things do you have to show as Cure? I don't know. I think Trap is a favorite here, honestly. I know that sounds weird, but yeah.
Here we go, set 1, Curious Minds, Cure versus Trap.
Game starts. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure. Africa Freaks, Trap.
Did she just kill the cleaning bot?
I thought I heard it. I did not see it.
I didn't hear a probe attack, but I heard like a crater.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's like self-destruct at some point. Huh.
Can you mass click on critters in StarCraft 2 like in Warcraft?
Oh, and make them explode?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Somebody's got to. Somebody, I'm sure, in chat knows this. They've attempted it.
I don't think it's the case, but because I think everyone would actually just clear them probably.
Yeah, I mean, you have so much, you can like, there's so much spam that you go like, as a pro player, you want to keep your hands warm all the way throughout the game, so you're constantly clicking everything. You might as well just like click a critter 10 times to make it blow up. I've never actually seen one just kind of explode in a mineral line like that before.
Especially with some of the strange hotkey binds we have. You remember that old Phoenix bind to make them stack perfectly?
I do remember that.
Imagine using that on the poor little clean and bot man. Oh my god.
Man, it would just get decimated. It'd be down in like 2 seconds. Complete obliteration.
Yeah.
Crime against humanity. Crime against
truly.
robots.
Yeah. You got to watch out for that one.
Kill the cleaning bot and the Terran player decides to like go mech to get vengeance or something.
The power of cleaning bot. Gives his stuff an aura.
Barely getting away there. I was a little spooked. Trap's better than me though. I've seen too many probes go down early like that.
Well, that's always the dumbest feeling. You're like, what was I doing? Okay, so it's a command center in the main base. Obviously, you can't know that.
We're actually seeing 3 racks coming out from Cure as well. This is kind of stylistically very similar to what we saw Ryung do in the previous round in Super Tournament Day number 1.
Well, you know what? Maru and Ryung kind of prepared together a little bit, and Maru and Cure are old teammates, right? So this could be like something that's trending in their little circle.
I could see that. Huh. And I wonder if this is going to go more into the Ryung style as we actually see a proxy gateway coming down from Trap, but I don't...
3-gate play.
3-gate. Wow, yeah, this is going to be a lot of aggression coming out of Trap. This is kind of an old school build. This was something that was trendy 4 or 5 years ago more than anything else, and I don't think he's going to build a battery. Marines are barely going to be out of vision of this. Nope, they see the probe.
Yeah, he does have a battery going up, actually, so...
Yeah, they're in the natural, though, so just to try and anticipate any kind of counterattack and keep those probes safe, but Robo going down behind this as well. Probably for Warp Prism for Micro and the Stalkers, I would think.
That's interesting now. Like, 3-gate into Robo this quickly is absolutely not what I expected, but maybe because Cure has been hiding what he's doing reasonably well, this gives him like a lot of options on what he can do. This doesn't look like a super refined, optimized build, honestly, from Trap, but
it's curious.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to think, but
with no bunker though, there is potential to pick off a good number of Marines here, especially with the Adepts being able to shade on top of them and get some damage done. I mean, we already see one SCV going down. He's actually going to have to move off the high ground here, and I think Cure kind of maybe anticipating having an easier defense against any kind of aggression. They were 3 barracks Marines, but not having a bunker really costing him there, and using the Adept shade to get high ground vision and get even more damage done.
I like the ideas here. 3 more Stalkers come in, and he's actually starting to massacre this, so Cure in some serious trouble.
This is snowballing really quickly here. There are more Stalkers on the field than Marines right now, and there is 2 Marauders popping out, and that might push these back as the Stalker shields are pretty much depleted. But this has been a lot of damage. The worker counts right now are absurd in the favor of Trap.
Yeah, that 12 advantage is pretty insane. He can't quite deny the bunker, although he does end up trying. Comes up and is actually targeting down these Marauders. They do stim and push him back.
I feel like you got to fight this there with Trap. You got to trade these Stalkers out. I mean, they're going to be dead otherwise. And Stim here is pretty much going to spell the end of things for this harassment. And on the back end of this, we're actually seeing Trap go into a Robobait. I want to say for Warp Prism speed would be my guess, but he is building one Immortal. I guess there are a couple different ways he could branch off with this.
I could see him going Colossus too, because it's clear it's 3 racks, so just consistent damage against the Marines could be a strong play also, and you see him adding the Immortal for kind of that tankiness and extra damage against the Marauders.
That's possible. There are really a lot of good options here for Trap, which is a Protoss player is a really fantastic position to be in when because you're Terran player at this level, Cure knows what Trap's options are as well, and when there's more than a couple of them, it can be tough to deal with. And yeah, you're right. There's the Colossus production going on now, and one more battery coming down.
I tell you, this game is going to be a frustrating one for Cure if he ends up losing, which it looks like he's on that track right now. When you open up with that 3 barracks play, you're going to basically hold on against anything without the bunker except exactly what happened there. So Trap really with some killer instinct doing a great job. Now going to hold that easily. You see the 2 sentries when you stim up. You can't attack up there.
Yeah, those have at least 2 force fields out already, and with batteries up, you would lose everything. Anything that goes up that ramp is dead. So Cure, I mean, with those 3 barracks, he's going to have to go into a starport before he's able to get really any kind of harassment done. And that's going to allow Trap to very safely take a 3rd base.
Twilight going down now. Third Nexus goes up.
And looking at the production tab right now, I think if Trap is able to identify, and I'm not sure he has an observer in the base of Cure. I think he was focused on just defensive unit production to get this third base faster. But if he is able to identify what is going on with Cure, that starport is so late. It's just now finishing when there are 2 Colossi already on the field, and this might open up a very powerful timing attack for Trap when there might only be 4 Vikings on the field, if any. Because no medevacs either with Stim this early. It's a really tough position for Cure to be in right now.
It's a terrible spot, and he's adding siege tanks, so I do like that. Like that's going to give a little bit more punch to his army right now. But I don't think he's going to have any time to attack. I think, and if you just sit back and defend against Trap, you're going to get run over.
There is a third CC going down. I was wondering if he was going to try and commit really heavily to 2-base play, but Trap's economy, I think, I don't think that would be viable. This is probably the right play, and that scan even not really catching the observer is painful because staying that full army composition from Cure is going to allow Trap to navigate his own army composition even better, and 3 more gateways going down as well. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, lifting up 7 Marauders and a Marine here into those 2 medevacs. It is a very Marauder-heavy force, we should note, right? Like a good amount of Siege Tanks, a good amount of Marauders. So things could go wrong for Protoss playing against something like that. You get a good stim and spread with your Marauders.
What a great hallucinated Phoenix there. Yeah. Spotting that drop is critical, and Cure's just going to go back home.
You have to do it.
I'm going to go send 2 more.
Dude, if he sends one up that side now, I'm just going to lose it.
There is a... Oh, he's actually going to wait for maybe a double drop? Maybe set up some kind of pressure over there in the north and then come back in on the bottom. But Trap very smartly spreading his pylons across the map. I love this play. He's getting vision all over. Oh, those are actually stalkers down here. I thought it was a pylon.
He knew he'd turn around.
Oh, man. Cure with the quick reactions. They're going to be able to save those 2 medevacs. But there is kind of a path to interception if Trap is able to navigate this perfectly. Blink is researched.
Well, it doesn't seem like he's really focusing on that too heavily right now. An observer does end up going down. I believe that's what just occurred there with that scan.
That's not a fight you can take there as Cure. Once Stalkers get into the numbers where they can one-shot Marauders and those small numbers, it's a really tough fight there for Cure. And I guess he's not going to try and contest the Colossi with Vikings. I like this decision. It would be really tough to do that with the Viking count being so low. He's instead going to go to Liberators, which give the most punch right now because he's going to be trying to hold on against this pressure. And I think if you're Trap, you're going to wait until charge finishes before coming in with a killer blow.
I think you get massacred, actually, if you try to go without charge. Like, between that many siege tanks and the Liberators,
it's essential.
Yeah, the charge is like super important here. But you know what? I think Cure can hold this. If I'm not mistaken, he has a lot of Marauders, and I mean that's a lot of siege tanks as well.
You need charge. You need charge here as Trap, and he might be waiting until it just finishes, and there it goes. Attack coming in now. Stalker's focusing down the Liberators as the Zealots try to connect there in the front of the army. But that is too many Marauders and too many siege tanks, and Trap losing quite a few units there. At the end of the day, Cure's ended up 15 supply ahead, give or take, and that's a really good fight. He didn't lose any of his critical units there. All the tanks are alive, and
he's tried it again. I'm not entirely sure why. Now, he retains his robo units, which is the most important thing you can do in these fights. Like, if you lose those, if those got wiped, he's dead. But he's okay. Like, he's getting Prism Speed now. We see a second robo coming up, and he's going into Disruptor. So getting that second form of Splash, so important. But here's Cure getting his Ghost, continuing a little bit of Siege Tank production. He's playing a very solid game here, despite a tough opener.
Right. His defense there at the third base was immaculate, and Trap kind of attacking before he had overwhelming numbers. Kind of puts him on the back foot now, as Cure is the one with the army that is more powerful in a straight-up engagement if it can siege properly. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him build up a little bit more before moving across the map, potentially there with Ghosts. Disruptors, though, of course, very good against the composition that Cure is going for. We've seen it before in previous PPTs here in Super Tournament and in GSL over the course of this year. The little dance that often happens between Disruptors kind of forcing away the bio as the Stalkers try to push a little bit forward to get some damage done on the Liberators. It's a really tough technical finesse play that we might see coming here into the mid game. But until then, right now, players just kind of vying for map control. No one really wants to get caught off guard from any drop harassment or run bys, but looks like we're just going to stabilize these. Both players kind of macro up.
Yeah, like we have the 4th base for Trap. We don't see the 4th CC started yet, right? And so that makes me a little bit nervous for him. He did get his armory, so we can start some 2-2 upgrades. Not that far behind Trap. Speed Prism, of course, flying over the single turret.
This is him trying to create a diversion for an attack at the 3rd base. And right now, Cure is caught way out of position.
Man.
His army was going to try and get some aggression done.
Many bad things occurring to him right now. Okay, 13 workers total.
That was really good. He has another Disruptor. He has 2 more that he can use to force away this bio as well. And the Warp Prism, it dies, but it served its purpose. It was there to create the diversion and get damage done there at the 3rd, and that was
a really high quality move from Trap, or set of moves from Trap. Like he slowed down the attack as well because his Cure wants to get something done right now. Now let's see if he actually can. Disruptor Ball's coming out. He loses a tank there, a few units including a Ghost. More Disruption Balls. Oh no!
Oh man, and this Zealot flank coming in on the 3rd base as well. Cure's gonna have to push back across the map to his home base, and his sieged units didn't properly unsiege. He's gonna lose 1 siege tank and possibly even a Liberator.
Well, I think everything is starting to fall apart, unfortunately, for Cure.
This observer coverage from Trap allowing him to just get perfect information and make the critical decisions to break this position there from Cure, and what turned out to be not a bad spot for Cure has quickly snowballed into a huge Trap advantage.
That's too bad. I feel like he did a good job holding Trap's aggression when Trap really shouldn't have been attacking, and he kind of got himself to even-ish. But now it's, even though the supplies aren't that different, right? Like we're within 10 workers of each other, we're at about the same army supply. Look at that army of Trap. Look at his map control. He's taking a 5th base. That's a lot to work through as Cure.
And Cure lost a lot of critical units in that skirmish too. I think it might have been 3, possibly even as many as 4 siege tanks going down. And as a Terran player with this kind of push, you really are relying on the range and the zoning abilities of the siege tank and the Liberator to be able to get damage done. So losing those units kind of sets the clock back for any kind of potential push that can come from the late game. And if you're Cure now, I think you're kind of scratching your head and wondering what play do you make to try and get back into this thing, because Trap is just in complete control.
Yeah. Well, he's going into Liberator range. That's really clear. He's adding that 2nd starport for that. So that's good to see. I do like the Liberators as an idea for the late game. He does have that 4th CC now, which is super important. He needs to get that over and landed. But it feels like he needs Trap to overextend his army, you know? Like if Trap kind of plays the game he's playing right now, where he's just kind of roaming and his army's quite strong and he's taking decent trades everywhere, he's always going to be up bases.
Losing units like that across the map is just so painful too there for Cure. That was more than 16 supply going down in terms of medevacs, and he does have the 2nd starport now, so losing starport production, losing starport units, it's not quite as painful, but he really needs to kind of hunker down and just, in my opinion, reach an army that can actually vie with this really well-navigated composition.
It's tough to make that army, right? Like, this many Disruptors, Immortals, Colossi, I think heavy Liberators is important. I like that he's still making a few siege tanks here and there. I think they do add a decent amount. But look at the mobility of Trap. Look, now his Gateway army's over here, and here comes the Robo army.
His economy is just too good, and these Disruptor shots coming in as well, connecting with the Ghost. They cannot get away in time. Everything just really falling apart there for Cure. He is going to be able to push this attack back a little bit as the Disruptors have to reset their cooldowns. But again, this was another skirmish where Trap didn't lose a lot of critical units. Of course, all of his Immortals, his Colossi, the Disruptors, they're all still up. In the meantime, Cure, he's losing medevacs, he's using siege tanks, he's losing Ghosts. losing Vikings. All of these units are the critical units that he needs to contest with this extremely advanced Protoss army. And Trap, he knows it. He's playing this perfectly. He's taking engagements where, yes, maybe even on paper, he's not trading perfectly cost efficiently, but he can afford it with his economy.
Yeah.
And if he can shut down any real tech advantage, or I guess like any way for Cure to kind of deal with a tech discrepancy.
Dude, look at this move.
It's just,
he goes to attack the 4th and just throws disruptor balls down the ramp so that it just stalls the army out from coming up here.
There's nothing that Cure can do in these kind of positions.
Yeah.
The story of that game was just every single skirmish, Trap retained all of his critical units.
Yes.
As you said, right from the get-go, the Immortals, the Colossi, and then eventually the Disruptors, they survived, I think, every single fight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure one of them went down. And then from there on, he's only trading gateway units off of a superior economy for all of the critical units Terra needs to actually fight that Protoss force.
Yeah.
And as Trap continues to macro up, those gateway units, what are they being replaced with? They're getting replaced by more Disruptors, more Immortals, more Colossi. And that was a game that, from the get-go, was really tough for Cure because he did kind of get blindsided. That was a worst-case scenario in terms of 3 gateways up against
Yeah, he just
3
wasn't
barracks
prepared
with no
for it.
bunker.
If he has any idea that that's what's going on, he actually deflects it super easy.
Right.
But yeah, it was a tough game, and you know, retaining those robo units, Trap just showed a level of mastery of this matchup. You know, that is, no one really rivals it. So, all right, game number 2 coming up. 2,000 atmospheres. We'll see if Cure can fight back here.
Game start. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure. Afrika Freaks, Trap.
So this is actually kind of a funny thing. Before, like, maybe a couple of years ago, right, when Cure made his, around the time Cure made like his first GSL finals against UI, where he got 4-0'd, right? Around that time, like, and a little bit before that, a little bit after that, somewhere in that area, I talked a lot about how Cure, even when he loses, he looks good, right? And I think he looked good that game. Like,
I agree with
he
you.
played very well. And I just wanted to throw that out there, that he's playing well today, so anything can happen.
I don't think that game is indicative of what the rest of the series might look like. But we
Is
actually...
his first gate across the map?
Yeah, he built that gateway in the 3rd base there of
Is he
Cure.
Max Paxson?
It looks like it, but there's a second depot going down from Cure, and if you're playing StarCraft at home on the ladder, that second depot does pretty much always mean that it's not going to be a super fast expand because you want those minerals for a CC usually. And this is kind of not the best situation for Trap because if you go for this kind of Zealot proxy in the early game, you're looking to ideally delay a command center on the low ground. In fact, the factory's going down now as well. He's got a reactor going on the barracks. This is a really, really nice opening here from Cure. I mean, that Zealot's not going to get anything done.
No, it's really not. He's making a second Zealot now, which is also not going to really get anything done.
I almost would like to see him cancel this as he moves up the ramp. He's going to try and zone out the Marine and get a little bit of damage done. Of course, it's not really viable to kill that thing with 1 Zealot. They just kind of dance around each other. 2 Zealots, though, maybe a little bit of trickery you can come with, but the bunker's going to be there. And actually a Stargate. So Trap, he's really committing to this, and I feel like Cure is kind of setting himself up with all of the tools that he needs to defend this. He's getting a Widow Mine. He's getting his Starport up as well. But this is going to be an all-in here. We got shield batteries coming up pretty soon. Right out of the field of vision is that pylon.
Okay, well, okay, so a Void Ray shield battery rush, but this is the perfect situation for Cure because he is sitting here just teching up on 1 base, and as long as he figures out that it's Void Rays,
He
then
knows.
I mean, he should be completely fine, I would say. Like, look, he's getting the tech lab. If he just goes Cyclones, gets the upgrade, what do you do?
Yeah, Viking
Right?
Cyclone is the response to this,
yeah.
and that Widowmine almost timing. Man, these pro players are so good about barely missing that clock, but would have been a devastating hit there if it happened. And yep, there we go. Upgrade there for the Cyclone as well. SCV's being pulled, just getting ready for any kind of attack. He knows what's coming through, and I don't really see a path for a trap to break this. I mean, shield batteries are pretty good. Crazier things have happened, but we'll have to see.
No, it seems hard, man. Normally, like, you will break them if they have the expand, but this is nothing that Trap was hoping it would be.
Cure actually a little bit of a missed micro there, going on the Stalker as opposed to the Void Ray there with the Cyclone, but not the end of the world. One depot does go down. He's going to want to build another one there in the back to prevent getting supply blocked. And one shield battery already all the way out of HP.
Oh, and he actually gets the mine hit on the Void Ray, doing some hull damage, which is really something you're looking for. Now, the mag field accelerators are over halfway done. He has 2 Cyclones. When that finishes, Void Rays die very quickly.
Even with 4 shield batteries, the energy is going to be depleted so quickly. And Trap right now trying to get something out of that Widowmine hit. He's trying to kill the Widowmine while it's still visible. He has no detection right now, but not able to get it. Widowmine resets, and now high-sec auto-tracking, it is done, or just about. 13 seconds there on the clock.
All right, here we go. It's just about to finish, and I think that's basically a hold. Okay, he's going to go into Blink from here, which I don't mind, honestly. Like, Blink is going to deal very, very well. If this army comes out in the map, maybe he can do a punish against it.
I hadn't even considered that. If Cure does try to move across the map and try and take this advantage of, I mean, this is 500 minerals right here, and shield batteries and pylons that are going down, and the proxy gate, the proxy stargate, the pylon over there as well. It's a lot of resources invested, and again, we're still 1 base versus 1 base. So if Cure does try to go for a punish, maybe just overwhelming him with Link Stalkers, those with Blink and good enough numbers, they fare very well against Cyclones if he can get on top of them.
Oh yeah, he'll destroy them. Like, I could see that just being how this game ends up going if Cure actually thinks he can kill him. Like, his army is so good against the rush that occurred to him, but suddenly we have the Nexus coming up quicker for Trap.
I love this 1 sentry here too. I'm getting flashbacks like Wings of Liberty 1 base contained with sentries.
Yeah.
That's a tough ramp to go down.
We'll see if he misses it when it comes down because he was looking elsewhere like we saw in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, that happened a lot. Oh, there we go. Cyclone's actually going down for the engagement. They're getting not the best connections, but that is a pretty overwhelming army there.
Yeah.
2 Cyclones going down. I'm not sure that's the best trade there from Trap.
No, definitely didn't go the way he was hoping it would there, that's for sure.
Gets that second Cyclone maybe, but no, 1 hit away from going down, and Raven going up there for Cure as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Cure just try to push across the map and kill him, and I think that's what Trap is gunning for with a Blink. And
yeah, after he lost that many units at the natural, like if he had nailed a perfect force field right away and then kind of evacuated with his units, saved most of them, I could see him actually holding a counter, but right now you look at his army, it's so weak compared to Cure's army.
Very weak. Getting that Cyclone as a
Cyclones.
freebie.
My gosh.
The Cyclone, they've kind of served, I mean, of course losing a Cyclone like that is not very good value, but they've served most of their purpose right now.
Yeah.
1 Cyclone at home is going to be able to stave off any kind of Warp Prism or Void Ray play that comes across later. And it looks like Cure, instead of going for that early push like we were afraid of, and oh, that's not, that is ill-advised.
Yeah, this is not going as Trap saw it this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you're Trap, I think it's going to play it out, but this is quickly becoming a insurmountable deficit. Seen a lot of Protoss players blink into mains and just get obliterated so far in this Super Tournament. I think we're 2 for 2 and Terrans just smacking them.
Well, they've been doing it for so many years now. Terrans are very used to it at this point and are ready for it. Just obliterating that army, as you said.
And this army composition coming out from Cure, this does really well against Blink Stalkers as opposed to what we saw earlier. I think we have 2 or 3 siege tanks with this.
Yeah.
Landed Vikings, a Raven, a bunch of Marines.
It's just such a small army from Trap.
He's going to try and intercept reinforcements, but there aren't really any coming, and that is a dead Nexus right there.
It's a dead Protoss right there, I think.
Absolutely.
Looks like he's going to try to pick off this back siege tank. Comes in from the other side with the flank. He brings up his probes as well. The overcharge it's doing its job as best it can, but it's not good enough. This is just such high damage output from Cure's army. He's up 2.5 times the supply.
Even the best overcharge in the world isn't going to save this day. I mean, that pylon going down, unpiring the gateway, canceling the stalker production. It's one dead Protoss right there, and we're going to go into a 1-1 game, 1-1 series there as Cure takes map number 2 in a pretty decisive fashion after what, again, was a really smart build order choice. We've seen a lot of games so far in this day 3 of Super Tournament get decided by very intelligent build order openings, both in terms of the aggressor, as we saw with Dark and Rogue and the proxy hatch on the gold, and for the defender in terms of shutting down builds like this.
Yeah. I mean, the build he chose was perfect against what Trap chose to do against him. So you want to do a build like that where you're kind of all in on one base trying to kill your opponent for making a command center? Well, sometimes you're going to catch it that way and go down. So we're tied up 1-1 right now. Glittering Ashes going to be map number 3. We're going to see who takes that advantage and goes to match point.
All right, let's get to it, man. We're really gunning through this one today. I'm excited.
It's quick games today.
I'm loving it. All right, set 3, Glittering Ashes. Let's go.
Game start. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure. Africa Freaks, Trap.
Is that a proxy?
Might be.
Could also just be for a scout or an NG eBay block.
Yeah, I mean, eBay block has been so trendy lately.
Oh, he's doing this gasless. Huh.
Hide your face!
This is Proxy 2 racks. Proxy 2 racks with a refinery coming down. For a moment, I saw it was gasless, and I was wondering.
Oh, it's 1 racks in the main, 1 proxy. Yeah.
Right. For a second, I saw this gasless, and I was like, are you going to do like the greediest possible NG Bay block with only minerals and then make a command center on the load grind or something? But no, I love this. Delaying that gas to get the faster second racks. And this is, again, going to look like one base play there for Trap, seeing the 2 depots there in the main base. The question is, what kind of aggression is this going to be, or is this going to be defensive play again, as we saw from Kieran in the last game? It's kind of a guessing game here for Trap, and he's going to be hard-pressed to find out what is going on, because a proxied barracks like this, I think this is going to be concussive shell.
I think so.
This can do a lot of damage if it catches the Protoss player unaware.
A few Marines added in from this main barracks will add so much DPS to the actual Marauders, right? That's where they actually kind of fail, where you can pull some probes and everything, and they kind of get overwhelmed. But this is especially brilliant, I think, from Cure. If you look at the way he's planning the series overall, all 3 games he did a quick wall at his natural. The first game, it was a command center to 3 racks. The second game, obviously, we just saw it was a tech-based build that stopped an all-in. And the third game, it's like, Trap has no idea what the hell is going on. Proxy concussive, when you see the racks there, you really don't expect that. Right now, if I'm Trap, I'm thinking command center or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, you can see it. He's moving across the map right now, trying to find any kind of proxy, and this is a brilliant spot where Cure is hitting it. But as you said, Trap goes up that ramp. That build looks identical to what he saw earlier in the previous game, and I don't know if he caught wind of those 2 Marines and the SCVs, but he's going to see this Marauder as natural very soon, and this is going to be tough. That shield battery is not going up.
Dude,
I don't think that's going to get focused down. Surprised we don't have a cancel on that, actually. The Stargate is coming up there for Trap. The Void Ray will kind of put a timer on this, as the Marine count is going to be low here for Cure, but the window for Cure to do damage is so huge right now, especially with that bunker and SCVs coming to repair, and Trap is looking like a dead Protoss once again, man. This is a beautifully executed build by Cure.
And there's just not much production. We'll see. I mean, the Void Ray, maybe you can make some real magic happen here if you can hold on in your main base. The probes do end up getting pulled. This is where the Marines really are paying for themselves here.
Yeah, we even see Trap trying to focus down the Marines. He knows that the anti-air is critical. He doesn't care about focusing down the Marauders. He wants to get any anti-air damage.
Look at this, turns it on, and he is actually going to be able to take down the 2 Marauders. He's going to take down the Marine. Now, if you're making Void Rays non-stop here, they can bust the bunkers. They can go for a counter. I mean, you have some flexibility as Trap to try to fight back.
Right. For a second there, I was afraid because the Marine count, there were 3 or 4 Marines that were coming across the map with bunkers and SCV repair. That can be really, really hard for the Voider to break through up until you get 2. I thought this Nexus might go down, but Cure was kind of going for the killing blow and actually having to pull down a Mule.
Wow.
But the more that this goes, I'm actually really liking this now for Trap. I feel like Cure might have overextended there in the main a little bit too much, losing all of those Marines, and this is just going to get cleaned up now.
Yeah, look at this. 3 Marines in that bunker. He does have to pull back one of the Voids, but you know what? The thing is, he's also teching during all this. I see a Widow Mine coming out. He has a Starport on the way. He is going to save these 2 Voids, though. He's not going to end up losing these to these Marines.
I feel like the tech switch is the best possible option for Cure right now because he does have to kill Trap. Trap is on 2 bases, but there's been a lot of overextension. Those bio units that rallied in there, the natural, that did not need to happen. Those units just got cleaned up by the Void Rays for free, and I feel like maybe at this point, given the economy of Trap and the Void Rays on the field, he's going to push across, and unless... I don't think there's a Widow Mine on the field, but even if there's
one. There's one somewhere.
Somewhere hidden in the space.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, right there at the front. Is he going to go for a Widow Mine drop? It looks like it.
Oh, okay.
This is one way to get back into the game.
Sure.
That's a pretty good comeback mechanic, but these Stargate units out here for Trap are really, really scary.
Yeah, I'm definitely a bit nervous for when they actually dive into the base, but you know what? If he's just kind of flying around the edges and he's a little bit slow on going in, okay, tags, he's looking for a mine, right?
Right.
That
he wants
has
to
be
see
what he's doing.
wants to see if there's a mine, and he does see the bunkers, he sees the Vikings, he sees the Cyclones. In these kind of situations, it can be hard to tell exactly where your opponent is at, so he might be unaware that this drop is even coming in the first place.
I think he is. I think he might be overestimating right now how far ahead he is. Now, Kira boosts into the main base.
Here we go.
Is Trap actually going to see it?
This
oh my God,
is one way to get back to this game. Trap has no idea. That is only 6 SCVs going down. The second shot, not quite as much. But that alleviates a lot of the economic advantage that Trap did have. Of course, he still is on 2 Nexus. He's going to replenish those probes very quickly. But again, we might kind of have a way for Trap to stabilize. But getting Phoenixes makes me think that he's going to try and go for a timing where he lifts up these critical units and just kind of kills them with gateways. But
yeah, I think he's only going to make 1 Phoenix.
You think so?
Yeah, I think the Phoenix is to chase out Medivacs, and that's it. Because
yeah,
if he
I think
actually,
you're right.
you can't. If you go Phoenix and Blink at the same time, what does that mean? That beats Vikings. What else does that mean? Nothing else. It's like all your stuff is filling the same role at that point. But yeah.
I love the stasis there at the natural expansion of Kira too. Not only is he delaying it, but he's going to know the exact timing that goes down. It's pretty much an observer.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. That is cool. And if you do it really stupidly and your SCV goes right in the middle, you have to wait for it to unthaw.
Those hurt.
Yeah.
I think Cure probably is going to have an idea about this, right? But we'll see. If a Marine or an SCV goes into that field, it's going to be a real bummer. Because he needs to be mining from that natural like yesterday.
Now, a proxy gate opens up. We have another Widow Mine drop that's heading out. Okay,
I think
that's that, I believe.
I think that's barely blocking.
Yeah.
Okay, no. All right. Well done there by Cure.
Now, he's going, it looks like Trap is going for an attack, and this is a lot of Blink Stalkers, 13 now, but there's going to be another drop going off in his natural. So there's a possibility here he loses quite a few probes.
But this pylon right there. He might be still focused on this attack, though. We don't know. It's hard to tell on the natural. Probes are being pulled away. And no, he actually doesn't have an idea again. And those are 2 more big connections. Widow Mines, they're one of the best comeback units in the game, and we've seen almost 20 probes go down. And once again, the worker counts have equalized, and now suddenly it's Cure who's up. He has siege tanks on the field. There's only 1 Phoenix. It's, I think, going to try and chase down this Medivac with the Oracles. so he won't have lifts there, and warping and sentries, I don't think these are the real units that you want against the composition that Cure has. And he's just gonna maybe try and set up a contain and go for a third base here.
Yeah, looks like these mines not gonna end up doing that much. Cleans this up very nicely, but I think you're right about the sentries. They don't help enough. There's more than enough units here for Cure. Trap cannot attack in. And Trap is not in a very good spot. We see him throwing down the Templar Archive, so he's going to try to get into a very quick storm from here, which is something he likes to do a lot. But I think Cure is going to find his stride very quickly now.
His supply is definitely going to start booming here as Trap sets up his... Oh, wow. What a blinket we have. Those force fields trying to catch the tank in the...
That was a great move. He got the Raven.
He did
Slows it down.
He did this consistently in game number 1, where he just made fantastic moves like that, where the Terran player wasn't quite... Oh, I love this spike here. These players just really going blow for blow again. I want to say we have something like 25 plus probes going down. Cure is a 6 worker advantage. That third Nexus is done, but it's not even like he can transfer probes to fully saturated. It's not... The only boon he's getting out of that is the bonus worker production, which admittedly he does really need after losing all of these probes. But if Cure goes for a 2-base timing with all these critical units before Trap is able to get out tech such as Storm, before he's able to get a massive gateway count up, he does have a chance, but out of force field. Oh, what a stasis!
Yeah, no, that's right there.
I didn't even see that.
He is getting blood from a stone right now, because this army was certainly better than his, but that stasis, like the way he's utilizing his stasis wards, you don't see this anymore.
That allows him to blink forward on this too, and he's taking all these critical units out. We see a Cyclone go down, a Viking go down, some numbers of Bio go down, and yes, Trap did lose a lot of Stalkers there, but Stalkers on paper and honestly, practically even in these fights, they're not the best against this army composition. The real strength for the Protoss army is going to be the Charge Zealots, the Templars, and later on the Archons. So trading out Stalkers for critical Terran units, you take that trade any day.
Well, Cure coming across the map. Trap is really putting together quite a scrappy defense so far. Now, this is tagged, so is this a fake or a double fake? That's the question, right?
I think it might be tagged, but I think he knows that the army is so far out of position that he can't set up here at the main base. But no, the Phoenix kind of putting a clock on this, and
he just forces the recall anyways, right? He's scanned, he saw the recall coming in, he turns around.
I like it. Meantime, this Zealot run by is going to get cleaned up. 3 probes going down there for Cure, as worker count, again, quite even, but man, it's tough to read. I feel like these players, they just keep trying to get some kind of edge, and it works.
This is like top of the world StarCraft we're watching right now.
Absolutely.
That's why this is so hard to read, because these are not just a couple of aspiring pros doing the same builds over and over on ladder. They are like trying every single thing that their 10+ years of pro gaming experience has taught them.
Absolutely.
And it is a beautiful game that we're seeing here.
I think actually we're having an engagement there at the natural. Okay, here we go, and Cure's army is split. He's got a lot of the potential 4th base of Trap, so Trap is going to use this as an opportunity to clean out Widow Mines, to clean out siege tanks, and he's getting a lot of good trades in as the Templar come in to deal with the bio as well. In the meantime, though, that's a powerful army for Cure on the other side of the map. Those 2 Templar, I don't think they have the energy for Storm, and this attack is going to get cleaned up. The question now for me is, what is Cure's damage? What kind of damage is it going to be able to get here at the 3rd base?
Yeah,
not a lot.
Not so sure. I think if he just warps another round of speed charge lots, he's going to be able to clear through this with a storm, right?
I don't know. He only has the 2 Templars that are getting zoned out by the siege tank. This natural is exposed, and there is no recall to transfer them over to this base. So Cure again taking really good trades as we see him start to kind of balloon in supply, and this will get cleaned up eventually.
Yeah, going to be able to push that back. Definitely seems like Cure has a pretty big advantage at this point. I gotta say, his defense at the natural, that morphing orbital, was twice as effective as any planetary I've ever seen. The way it clumped up the Zealots and everything got stuck behind it. And
SimCity is so critical against these Protoss compositions with Charge Zealots. It's so much value. So much of the damage of Zealots comes in from getting surface area and surround, much like Zerglings in pretty much every Zerg matchup. So yeah, really getting value out of that. And now I think Cure, for one of the first times in this game taking a pretty sizable supply advantage. And the work accounts, again, they favor a little bit for Trap, as Trap was able to land Storms there at the natural mineral line of Cure, but this is a Terran player. He does have Mules, and now that he's getting up to this third base, that's a fresh third base. It is not, it's kind of a disadvantage that it took so long to get this, but this is the base that if he's able to hold it is going to mine for a very, very long time.
All right, Trap with that 4th Nexus going down. Sending some Zealots out to the side. His supply very, very low with this many ghosts in here.
The Observer sees all of this, though.
Yeah. He's coming in from behind here. His army is very small, but I mean, it can put out some pretty good damage. Look at this, trying to zone those ghosts back because the High Templar is so important. Gonna have to use some retreating Psystorms perhaps. No, it looks like Kira turns around. Putting down multiple scans here, trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the Observers.
Oh, that was a pretty good storm.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great at the beginning, but then the Marines just kind of walked into it. I'm liking this army out here from Kira, though. If he's able to land key EMPs on this Protoss force, I think there might only be 1 or 2 EMPs in the Ghost left, though. Here we go.
Here comes from behind. The Ghosts that are rallied up are not hitting anything upon these High Templars, unfortunately. But it looks like the main army is doing a fantastic job. Trap trying to get up that ramp, a little bit stuck right now. There are mines here as well. Going to kill off that Archon. Down goes an Immortal. There's no beef left.
Key side storms. He does have a few left where the Templar, but they get sniped. And no splash damage here against this Terran army. That bio is going to mow down these Zealots like nothing, and that's going to be it. Cure with a really technical Game 3 win there, as his early aggression, if I'm not mistaken, kind of floundered. It was looking like Trap just kind of played it perfectly.
Yeah.
And then Cure again, somehow kind of clawing his way back into it. We've seen him do this in Game 1. It didn't quite pan out, as he did end up losing that game, but a lot of resilience being shown by a lot of different players here on day 3 of Super Tournament.
Yeah, and like Cure's build, he could have killed the Nexus if that's what he focused on. But he went up the ramp trying to end it. The Voids kind of caught Trap up. And then Trap got the contain. But, right, I'm remembering this correct, right? These games are so insane. Okay, I think the issue here for Trap was he didn't nail the force field perfectly on the ramp, which I was actually joking about. Because he lost a huge chunk of army and Cure didn't let up from there.
That did, yeah. That was kind of when the pendulum started swinging in the other direction.
Am I remembering this correctly?
You are remembering it, because I think it was 2 or 3 Cyclones. Anyway, we're going to go to set 4 on Hardwire now. Cure up 2-1. Will he be able to close it out? Oh, here we go again.
All right. I mean, that's a proxy Rax. There's no question.
I was joking about this before we went into before we started casting today, that we knew it was going to be kind of a high-octane game, high-octane day, I should say, in terms of the games and the aggression these players play out, and we might see something like Super Tournament quarterfinals any % speedrun, but that's really what we're getting right now with all these proxy barracks, these proxy hatcheries, and Cure, this is looking like a proxy Reaper, I want to say.
Yeah, I would say that you're right about that.
Should see the gas coming down, and there it is, and this can cause fits. Generally speaking, this can go a couple of different ways, but the way that I typically would expect is this Reaper getting second gas going down, though. This might be higher octane aggression. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I mean, occasionally you'll see like a factory come up after this into a command center, but
we do see that.
Yeah,
from time
it could
to
definitely
time.
go either way. It's interesting though, because the first 3 games, the opener looked exactly the same from Cure, and here he's like, yeah, no, you're gonna get in my base. And look, Trap has been tricked so many times. He's like looking for the barracks in the main base. He's not buying it until you're selling it all the way.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he sent it to the natural to try and spot for a barracks.
I bet you he will.
But this SCV, it should be a tell, and the engineering bay block adding insult to injury here. That Reaper plus NG bay block.
That's annoying.
This is great because it forces Trap to make a Zealot unless he pulls probes. And the Zealot, not to the surprise of anybody, doesn't really fare very well against a Reaper. And I'm liking this opening again out from Curious. We're going to see him building a factory, and if I'm not mistaken, that is at the wall. So this isn't super crazy aggression, but that Zealot's going to be trying to run down this Reaper, trying to zone down at least a little bit. And I mean, testament to Trap. He's not losing any probes yet. I would have lost 4 or 5 already.
Second Reaper coming out, so I think he is going to have a little bit of a hard time still. He is making a secondary Adept, so he's going to be able to actually cover both sides by doing that. Looks like he's going after the eBay now as well. We have a Stargate going up for Trap. This is really, like, whatever Trap had planned on this map, he's not getting to do it.
Absolutely, but at the same time, he is scouting in the main base. This probe is never left, and I love this. So many players would send that probe back home, or they would try to find other proxies on the map. Trap is just like, okay, you're not going to have any units in your home base. I'm just going to scout absolutely everything. So he has a great read on what Kira is doing right now. And I feel like, given that kind of information, yes, your game plan, it did get thrown off because of the proxy Reaper, but that's all right, because you do know what your opponent is doing, and if any Protoss in the world can navigate this into the mid game to try and defend whatever it is that Cure is kind of like coming up with his sleeves, I feel like it's going to be Trap with complete information there in the main base.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Phoenix is now being created. I mean, it's pretty clear that we're going to have a mine drop coming up, so if he can catch that, that's a huge step in the right direction for him in this game.
I wonder if we will, though, because Kira, again, getting full scouted, he is just adding tech labs and barracks, and that might just be for stim and combat shields, which could catch Trap off guard if he overcommits here on the Phoenixes.
Yeah. I mean, if you just mass up and keep your mines alive and do a push, like if he tries something like the third base off of 1 Colossus and 5 Phoenixes and like 3 Gateway units, something like that, I can see that doing something, but right now the Reaper, he's drawn. Okay, he draws the Phoenixes over here, but the medevac actually turned around. I mean, he sees that there's 3 Phoenixes, so maybe it's just a good idea to turn around in general. I feel like when people go Phoenixes, you actually shouldn't drop. You should be looking for critical mass.
I think you're right about that. It looked like he was trying to maybe find some way to finesse Trap away from his main base with the Phoenixes to catch the Reaper, but the timing just didn't work out and he wasn't able to get the drop. But I mean, that might work out to his advantage, as you said. Phoenix armies, usually, because they're so gas intensive, you have a lot of inexpensive gateway units with them. You have a lot of Zealots, typically. You'll have some Stalkers, and those don't handle Widow Mines very well in the mid game, which could lead Cure to a timing. It could allow him to just safely kind of macro up and take a third base. Really a lot of options here for both players, and I mean, both Cure and Trap kind of flexing their ability to play on the fly and the versatility in their play styles, because again, we keep going into these mid games. Oftentimes we'll see lower level players, it's clear what their path is in the mid game and what their plan is moving forward, but with these guys, there's so much still on the table in terms of how they can execute their play style. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're forcing this onto each other the entire time. It's not like they have much of a choice. Like, if someone was trying to do just something by the book, they would have already died.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the reigning GSL champion against the best Protoss player in the world. On paper, this is arguably the highest skill match of the night. These two are really going at it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people probably look at Dark versus Rogue and would just assume that, but I guess what you're saying is not wrong. I mean, Kira is the current champ. All right, Colossi plus that third base. Now, do we have enough to actually push right now? Right, the Phoenixes, you look at this army can't be touched by Phoenixes. Phoenixes can fly around this army and wait for a lot of other units to come and help. And that's about it, I think, right? So it's going to be like, this is the first Colossi. And his gateway units, what, 4 units? 5 units? It's not many.
I think he's building 4 or 5 at a time. His gateway count is really not that high. And this push, I think you're right, it has the opportunity to do a lot of damage.
Well, he does have an Immortal, actually, so that's kind of nice.
And the 2 sentries actually do, they add a lot of versatility to this. I mean, being able to section off Marines with Thermal Lances, just money every single time.
And he's got beautifully placed shield batteries. Do you see that? Those
I
are
actually didn't catch it.
They are fantastically placed. He has got like this centralized defense. Look at that. The one on the right underneath the robo.
Oh, that's perfect.
This is Trap's positioning here is amazing.
That whole area is just completely cornered off, and I think we have the second Colossi coming down too, so looking to stabilize right here for Trap. There might have been a window there for Cure, but yeah, he is safe. And
no, I think you're right. I think Trap had just enough that you look at that as Cure and say,
But the worst part
if I do this wrong, he wins.
Yeah, and the worst part about that too is that you don't really have the opportunity to kind of go for any other kind of counter. Usually you could see a slow immobile army like that in a defensive position entrenched with shield batteries, and you're like, well, maybe I can get a drop off.
Yeah.
But the 5 Phoenixes that we have on the field right now, I mean, he's building even more.
The level of punish would be dramatic. All right.
I like this for Trap.
Yeah, do you like him moving across the map right now?
I do. With force fields, there are no siege tanks out on the map. There's nothing
true.
to contest the sentries getting right on top of this army and just sectioning off units.
And he can mind drag with the Phoenixes. That's a pretty common move.
And Cyclones are so clumsy. It's so easy to catch them with force fields.
They got Butterfingers, man, that's for sure.
Butterfinger Cyclones going up against this army right now. And actually, all the Phoenixes going down. Not the best engagement there for Trap. He is going to try and wean some advantage here out of Thermal Lance. That is a lot of Marines taking a lot of damage from Thermal if the Colossi continue to push forward. And I think we have 2 or 3 force fields in the bank right now for Trap. Maybe one more. This is kind of a tough spot, though. Oh, the Marines blocking the SCV. Not the best engagement here. A lot of damage coming down here by Cure and Trap. Even microing this War Prism into the back, getting maximum value out of this Colossi and 20 SCVs.
And he's going to end up losing basically his entire army, but 29 SCVs that's a dramatic amount of damage to Cure. Now, Cure has to go.
Cure has to go right now.
Yeah.
You reset the Colossus count, you reset the Phoenix count. That wasn't the best executed attack there by Trap, so it wasn't able to end the game, even though it might have had the opportunity. And now the game for Trap is you did the eco damage, survive. You must survive this push coming now, but there is no blink, there is no charge. This is a basic gateway army with Colossus support, and it's going to be tough to deal with, and you can see it right now. I mean, that allows this drop to come into the main base.
Great move here from Cure. Like, he is definitely under some time pressure right now. Since his SCVs died so much, but he's abusing the fact that all of those Phoenixes died. Another one is being made. He's going to go ahead and pick up and run out of here. And he's still, I mean, he still has some potential, right? Like, he's got 3 commands. He can rebuild some of that, but it does feel like he also has to get a bit of damage here.
I think he's a little bit happy with that. He got a couple of units there in the main base. He got 4 SCVs. I think you want to find more, but he's going to see these Stalkers and hopefully nope out of it. No, the Stalkers actually don't focus down the medevacs, and instead all the bio drops.
Yeah, not bad. Look at this. The Vikings go over to the ramp and start targeting down the Colossi. A single Phoenix comes out and kind of screws it up a little bit, but they go ahead, target that a little bit, go after the Colossi once again, picks one off. And the Marauders going to start moving forward here. The Colossi getting microed back. More bio being rallied up during all of this. Cure with some beautiful execution.
That was a fantastic move there with the Vikings and landing the medevacs right on the Stalkers when they weren't focusing them down. And I think we're just going to see Trap GG out and Cure with a 3-1, I think. That was match point, wasn't it?
That was match point.
My goodness.
No, this series was wild. This was so high level from both players. I got to tell you, Cure just showed is there any way to deny that he is the best TVP in the world after last season and now this? You can't. He's the best TVP there is.
That was dominating. Even when it felt like he was down and out. I mean, in map number 1, he got blindsided. The one map that he lost, he got blindsided. He took so much damage and he was losing critical units left and right. He was still so hard to kill. And then game 2, game 3, game 4, his defense in game 2 was immaculate. In game 3, he came out with a really sick proxy barracks. All right, we're gonna talk about more about that later. We're going to break with Zoun vs Solar in match 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys again soon.